Right, it's recording.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to another instalment of the LSB Social Seminar Series. Unfortunately, our great leader, Adriano, can't be here today. He's off on much more important business. But for the moment, I'd like to present to you Sarah Dodds, a PhD student in the department, who's going to be telling us all about Power Rangers. So, over to you, Sarah.
I'm like this. Some of you have missed the iconic theme song, but it's fine. So, a few disclaimers. I love GIFs. There will be GIFs. And some of you haven't watched it, so it would be nice to see little snippets of the show. Some of my takes will have zero nuance, and I don't care about your opinions. And I have no conclusion because I couldn't be asked. So I did a quick poll of my friends with a beautiful sample size of 10 to figure out if people have seen an episode of Power Rangers. And as we can see, how many of them? Three of them had never seen a Power Rangers episode. 2 can't remember. For the 3, uncultured swines. And the extra 2, I don't know what's wrong with you. How can you not remember an episode of Power Rangers? I think there's some dementia happening. So, some background. So, the Power Rangers was originally a Japanese show called the Super Sentai series. And how it came into America was some dude called Haim Saban went to Japan on a business trip. Hotel room, only one thing on his TV channel, and that was the Super Sentai series. And he thought, this would be cool in America. And when it first came, there were loads of critiques of violence, but clearly that doesn't matter because 28 years later and 28 seasons, the thing still is alive. It was originally made by Marvel, so imagine a Marvel MCU, but with Power Rangers, which technically exists. So if you ask me, the Power Rangers laid the groundwork for the MCU we have today. But unfortunately, Marvel didn't take it through, and it was Saban Entertainment that took it. And the franchise has passed many hands through the years. So again, it started with Saban Entertainment, and then it passed on to Fox, and then to Disney, until 2008, when it went back to Saban Entertainment, which has allowed for certain eras. So up here, so there's like the Saban era, the Disney era, and the back to Saban era. And to this day, 65 episodes per week are shown in 40 different countries. So a little girl in Ghana first watched the Power Rangers when she was like 6 in a third world country and somehow managed to get hooked on it. So this is the original Super Sentai series that went on to become this. Again, it's not lost on me how the Black Ranger is the black guy and the Asian is the Yellow Ranger. Fun fact, they didn't know this until the 9th episode had aired and the backlash arrived and like, oh shit, and they couldn't fix it. Also, another fun fact is a lot of like the scenes where the teenagers are talking and living their lives are the American teenagers, but anything that involves action in their suits are from the Super Sentai series. They just stole the stock footage, which is awkward because the Yellow Ranger is a guy in the original Japanese series, so he has no boobs, and there's a mysterious package showing in the spandex suit. So, generic premise for all seasons, you'll have teenagers living their best lives, some villain arises out of nowhere, and then somehow, mysterious circumstances, the teenagers come across the morphing power that turns them into Power Rangers. They fight the villains, they win, lessons are learned, they become better people, they get Megazords, life is good. So let's talk about the team. So most seasons you have the primary colors, which are red, yellow, and blue. And then if they're feeling a little bit extra, they'll add like 2 more, so like the pink or the green, sometimes a black. And then if they're feeling extra spicy, you have like 2 or 3 more rangers that are like spicy colors like crimson, navy, gold, steel, wolf, whatever. And in general, the red ranger is the leader, the blue ranger is the second in command. Again, I must say, the red ranger is always a guy, except like the one time it was a woman and she was the villain. And usually the girls are the pink or the yellow, except for one time again, which was like samurai, it was ninja storm, that the blue was the woman, and the yellow was the guy. So let's call your typical episode. So again, your villain decides to cause some destruction, some chaos, send some little minions, and then the Power Rangers fight the minions, usually when they're dealing with something in their lives, like a date or some homework, and then they come fight the minions. They win, and then the villain is like, hell no, and then sends some extra, like a higher boss or something, to go fight them. But this is not an easy fight. So then something like a new weapon or a Zord comes into play. And sometimes you even get the Megazord, which is a combination of all the Zords together to create that thing. So, why do I love the Power Rangers? The Power Rangers deals with like a lot of themes, like empowerment. So the basic gist is anybody can become a Power Ranger. Because again, they're usually teenagers who are normal with their different problems. They get empowered, and they can save the world. It teaches them responsibility, especially because the weight of the world is literally on their shoulders, even though there's no reason why it should be. And also, they're not allowed to tell their family and friends that they're Power Rangers, which leaves them to a lot of sticky situations. For example, if they're in the middle of a date, they have to run off to go save the world, but they can't tell anyone. Or the new season, one of them is a disappointment to his dad, and the dad gets him a new job, and he has to keep leaving the job, so he gets fired. But he can't tell his dad it's because I'm a Power Ranger, so the dad thinks he's a disappointment, which is really not nice. And then it deals with things like feminism, because the women are usually very like complex, different types of women are in the Power Rangers, and they are awesome and cool powers, but again, they made the only female Red Ranger a villain. So not quite there yet. And then it also teaches like diversity and tolerance, because again, there are loads of like different types of Power Rangers, all races, abilities, which I will show in the next one. So if we're focusing on diversity, again, like there's a mix of races. They don't always get this correct, but they try. And then we also have like rangers with disabilities. For example, the Blue Ranger from Mighty Morphin is autistic, and it's on the spectrum, and a lot of them come from varying socioeconomic backgrounds, even though the newest Rangers are all nepotism babies, so do with that information. So in Turbo, we had a child Ranger who, again, why is a child a Power Ranger with all that violence? But he's one of them. And then they have quite possibly the hottest Power Ranger to have ever existed, which is Anubis Doggy Kruger from SPD. I mean, him in a Power Ranger suit, body as tight as hell. He looks amazing. I don't know what to tell you. He is awesome. Absolutely awesome. And then I cannot talk about the Power Rangers without talking about the great Tommy Oliver. So Tommy Oliver is like considered the greatest Power Ranger to have ever existed, mainly because he's been in too many seasons, which is he has appeared in 237 episodes over 10 seasons. Different Power Rangers, like I think he's been like 10. I don't know if it's because the actor can't get another job outside the Power Rangers, but he's always in it. And he was the embodiment of once a Ranger, always a Ranger. So he was also really good Native American representation. And his fight scenes were pretty much the best because he's actually a martial artist. And yeah, these are like a whole range of what he has been. So he came in Mighty Morphin as a villain, as the Green Ranger. And then he became the Goldie Ranger. And then he's become white. And then in Dino Thunder, he was black. And then he's been a lot of other ones. And he comes in cameos. In fact, in the newest movie that we try not to talk about, he has a cameo in it. And you can tell it's a shame he lost that ponytail. Absolute travesty. Because again, I don't know what the hell is that thing. Anyway, that's all I forgot to say, but one of the reasons why I love Power Ranger was that, again, it's so easy to see yourself as a Power Ranger with such a range of people having the opportunity to become a Power Ranger. You could imagine as a teenager in your bedroom being magically given some morphing power to save the world, which again is morally questionable, but it's such a great opportunity, and that's why I think it's lasted this long, even though again it's super camp, super crazy. CGI is down the toilet, but it still gives this a sense of fun and enjoyment that you could basically save the world. Anyway, this is my sister becoming a Power Ranger. And me.
Any questions for Sarah? Anyone?
I don't think I know where to start.
Easy to ask. Either.
Which one's your favourite Power Ranger and why?
Favorite is Yellow Ranger from Dino Thunder.
Why?
Because she was awesome. And plus, she got to be a dinosaur, I mean. What else do you want?
Yeah, I heard at lunchtime that there was something to do with Power Rangers becoming dinosaurs or something like that. What's that all about?
So, like, every season is, like, a different theme. So, they've done everything from dinosaurs to policemen to fighting a virus, like a pandemic,
Sounds boring.
magicians, like, whatever you think. Oh, time travelers. Whatever concept you think in your head, there's a Power Rangers for it. They're even paramedics. So that's, I think, also emphasizes the point that, like, literally anyone could be a Power Ranger. I think.
Jesse.
I think the last time I watched Power Rangers was back when they all formed the Zord, when they all, is that what it is? So I get that when they were fighting like the big guys, because they could just smash the crap out of them. But if they're fighting a pandemic, how do they utilize their Power Ranger powers?
So the virus was like a computer virus, but it had destroyed the world. So it could create, like, use nanobots to create big ass robots to, like, fight. So they could still fight with the Megazords. Yeah. In fact, the new season is also too with computer virus as well.
I should buy some.
Yes, Vera.
Is there any reason why they use swords in the 21st century?
The question is why not? They do use swords and they also use guns as well. I think it depends on the theme and which is more appropriate. So, like, in Samurai, they're gonna use a sword, whilst, like, something like SPD or RPM, they're gonna use a gun. But a sword looks cool, if you ask me.
What's SPD or RPM?
Oh, so SPD is like a police one.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a group of police. It's this is one of my no nuance takes. But like yeah, SPD is like really cool. Where Dougie Kruger is in, it's like a bunch of policemen trying to like fight these super criminals. But then like the whole season is like the blue team, like, the Blue Ranger bitching that he should be the White Ranger and not some black kid from the hood, and how his idolized Red Ranger turned out to be a girl and he was shook to the core doing that information. Yes, sir.
Do the Power Rangers have a lawyer, or how do they deal with all the kind of lawsuits which must arise from the damage caused to the public?
That's the thing though. So like when they kill their creatures, they explode, so that means there has to be a lot of city damage happening. But because their identities are kept secret, you can't sue them. Like the episodes where they've tried to like go, okay, the Power Rangers may not be as good as they think because they're like actually hurting people, but they never fully address this. And like some of them are also protected by the government in some of them. So like they were created by the government, so they get a free pass. Yeah.
Do they have like a nemesis that appears in like all the seasons?
No, but some appear for like multiple seasons, like the iconic Rita Repulsa from
Yeah.
Mighty Morphin appears a lot, but then her brother took over at some point, and like, but different seasons had different Power Rangers with different villains.
Okay.
Have you ever thought about writing a book?
On Power Rangers,
Yeah,
I don't think I care enough to write a book.
Wikipedia page?
It already exists.
Oh.
Again, I don't care that much enough. Like I could have gone through all 28 seasons, but I was like, no.
Wow.
That's
That's it. So if you'd like to join me in giving Sarah another big round of applause.